time on the hit list, we celebrate the crossover success of Latin music's brightest stars. Born to parents of Spanish, Italian, Lebanese and American descent, singer-songwriter and producer Shakira grew up with a wealth of artistic influences. She wrote her first poem at the age of 4 and learned how to belly dance while still at school.
I've always considered myself some kind of cocktail, you know, because of so many fusions that there is in my family. But also the fact that I've been traveling for so many years, you know, since I was 18. I've been moving around like a nomad. It has shaped my spirit, my personality in a certain way.
She recorded her first album with Sony in Bogota at the age of 13. It featured a collection of songs she'd been writing in Spanish since she was 8 and introduced her to the radio listeners of Colombia. However, it was her 1998 album, Donde Están los Ladrones, that made her one of the biggest-selling Latin artists in the world and prepared her for the crossover superstardom she was about to achieve with her debut English-language album, Laundry Service, in 2001. The lead single, Whenever, Wherever, went to #1 in 29 countries to become the highest-selling single of 2002. She made no apologies for taking another 3 years to emerge with her next 2-part album called Oral Fixation.
When I have the chance, I just enjoy scratching my belly and sitting in a rocking chair, staring at the nothingness. You know, it's such a creative space as well, you know? Having some time for your mind to unwind, then's when the best ideas happen. Not in the middle of the photo session.
The Spanish volume, released in June 2005, won her a Grammy Award for Best Latin Rock Alternative Album. It was followed by Volume 2 6 months later, which included the record-breaking duet with Wyclef Jean, Hips Don't Lie. Oral Fixation Volume 2 also featured explorations of darker themes, such as the international ignorance of the genocide in Timor. Alongside her hit-making musical career, Shakira has also been making a name for herself as a philanthropist. In 1995, she set up her own foundation, which is committed to creating special schools for poor children in Colombia.
Through our work in Colombia and the work that we do with our foundation, Pies Descalzos, in my country, we provide meals in school, and it changes the lives of the children and also the parents, who become tremendously participative in the education of their kids because of that, because they're receiving the nutritional component. So yeah, the food crisis is definitely one of those challenges.
She's also a Goodwill Ambassador for children's organisation UNICEF, and in September 2007, it was revealed that she had personally donated $40 million to help victims of natural disasters. Rolling Stone magazine ranks Carlos Santana as the 15th greatest guitarist of all time. He first blew critics away at Woodstock in 1969. The band that bore his name were one of the great surprises of the legendary festival and went on to reach #4 in the US with their debut album. More than 40 albums later, Carlos has collected 10 Grammy Awards and sold 90 million records. But little else has changed about him since Woodstock.
I haven't changed. You're right, I'm a hippie from the 60s. You know, I saw a lot of hippies like sold out, you know, to Coca-Cola and all kinds of things, but I'm still the same guy. You know, I haven't sold out. I still believe that we as humans, we will get to the other side and we shall have peace on earth.
His spiritual journey began in the early 70s after meeting Indian philosopher and guru Sri Chinmoy, who took him on the path of love, devotion and surrender. Ever since then, Carlos has infused his music with his spiritual beliefs.
I like turning people on to that inner medicine, that faith is the substance of things not seen. It's a very real element that even though you don't see it, it's there. You know, so I like to, this is the best part of being on the road to me. It's like turning people on to something that they have access to it if they just stop and go inside and get it.
Having made a strong commercial comeback in the late 1990s with Supernatural, which spawned the smash hit single Smooth, Carlos hasn't stopped pumping out collaborations with the likes of Herbie Hancock, Shakira, Chad Kroeger, Steve Tyler and Gloria Estefan.
To me, success is knowing that people need something from you, whether you discover making bread or you discover making wine. So the key to success is finding something that people need. And obviously, a lot of people need the sounds of Santana.
In April 2009, he proved his point by taking up a 2-year residency at the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas.
It's a beautiful day. It's a day filled with possibilities, opportunities for us. Another door opened up, like Woodstock or Supernatural. This door of coming to Las Vegas and bringing our dimension of who we are and who we represent, and to be welcomed with open arms.
At the age of 62, he's still opening himself up to new ideas.
I have now the wisdom to change the perception and look at it like I can bring total newness, purity, innocence, vitality, intensity, sincerity, integrity.
Latin rock band Mana formed way back in the early 80s in Guadalajara, Mexico, under the name of Sombrero Verde, meaning green hat. But they had to wait 10 years for major success to come their way, with their single Rayando el Sol from the album Falta Amor. Since then, the 4-piece band, often referred to as the Latin world's answer to the Rolling Stones, have collected 4 Grammy Awards and 5 Latin Grammys, and have sold more than 22 million albums worldwide. All without resorting to the release of an English-speaking album. In 2006, their album Amares Combatir found its way into the Billboard 200 Top 10.
Well, I think, it's just amazing to see how far as a band singing in Spanish we've gone. I mean, debuting this album number 4 in the Billboard charts, that's something that has never happened before. We just want to see how far we can take our Latin culture, all over the world.
One of the reasons their music has been going down so well over the years could be the diversity of the styles they embrace, from pop rock, Latin pop and calypso to reggae. Amares Combatir was no exception.
Well, it's very versatile album, has a lot of rhythms. It's, for example, you can find a really cool reggae, like very Bob Marley style. You can have cha-cha-cha, cumbia, rock and roll, very powerful rock songs of rock and roll. But it's a lot of things over there, and I think it's great, this album.
The album's incredible success augured well for the US and South American tour that followed, and things got off to a raging start in Puerto Rico. They've since followed that up with a live DVD and a new album, and are currently planning the next stage of their global takeover.
We're really anxious to go to Japan, which we've never played before, which we would love to go down there. Canada's another market that we'd love to break. But you never know, maybe we'll do something in English, and if we do it, it's just basically because we want to share our ideas, our philosophy, our dreams, and just translate them. It's not we want to become like the crossover sensation or band or whatever,
Marc Anthony began life in New York City. Born to Puerto Rican parents, he started his singing career as a session vocalist for underground house music acts, before releasing his first Latin hip-hop album, Rebel, in 1988. Since crossing over into the mainstream with his first English-language album in 1999, he's gone on to become the biggest-selling salsa artist of all time. Despite his continued success, he remains superstitious and still performs a lucky ritual every time he takes to the stage.
There's some very, very, very particular that I do since I started. It's been over 20 years that I've been doing this, and I don't go on stage without doing it. I won't tell you what it is, but I definitely have my little ritual.
And it seems to be working for him. In 2006, with a swag of American and Latin Grammys to his name, he released a greatest Spanish hits album and hit the road with Latin legends Marco Antonio Solis and Laura Pausini. for a tour called Juntos en Concierto.
The interesting thing about this is that this is a great little formula thing we have going on as far as, Juntos en Conciertos, simply because it's a way to bring not only quality entertainment across America and reach those places in America that we don't have the opportunity to visit every day, no? And anyone who comes out is gonna have 3 hours of the best quality entertainment. These guys are at the top of their game. They represent their genres at the highest level.
He also makes up half of Latino entertainment's most powerful couple. And since marrying Jennifer Lopez in June 2004, he's been credited with curbing J-Lo's famous appetite for sharing her private life with the press. Insisting on a strict code of privacy, Marc, for the most part, has managed to fend off the prying paparazzi.
Well, I don't talk about my marriage or my relationships in any way, shape, or form.
Perhaps that accounts for the longevity of the marriage, which has by far outlasted all of J-Lo's previous high-profile unions. The relationship has even managed to withstand the pressures of working together on the 2007 film El Cantante, in which Marc plays salsa great Hector Lavoe.
We're just so proud of it. We spoke about it yesterday, and it was pretty surreal rolling up to 42nd Street, and it's all my old stomping grounds. I was born and raised around here, and it was a little surreal, And I look to my right, and there's my wife, and I'm like, what are we doing? You still feel like you're playing house, like this, like when is someone gonna tell me I'm not 8 years old,
Cuban-born singer Gloria Estefan did things the other way around from most Latino artists. Back in the mid-1980s, she made her name singing in English with Miami Sound Machine. Latin-flavored dance hits like Dr. Beat, Conga, Bad Boy and Rhythm Is Gonna Get You gradually earned her top billing over the band name. She finally went solo with the 1988 album Cuts Both Ways, which featured the Billboard Hot 100 #1, Don't Wanna Lose You. Tragedy struck while on tour to promote the album. A truck crashed into her tour bus, and she was left critically injured with a fractured spine. Within 10 months, she'd made a full recovery and performed at the Grammy Awards to a standing ovation. After that, she began releasing Spanish-language albums like Mi Terra and Abriendo Puertas, and exploring her Cuban heritage, despite being exiled from her home country since just after she was born. In 2007, she and her husband made a documentary about the evolution of Cuban music, which she followed up with an album featuring collaborations with the likes of Jose Feliciano and Carlos Santana.
The idea was also to salvage a lot of the rhythms that are original from Cuba, but bring it to the modern day with modern sounds and the quality of recording that we have today, and a lot of fusion mixed in with some of these very original rhythms. It's all original music.
The following year, after winning 7 Grammy Awards and selling more than 90 million albums worldwide, she was declared 2008's Latin Recording Artist of the Year.
I was thrilled, especially when I found out I was the first woman to receive it. It's nice to be the first woman at anything. So it's quite special because it comes from people that are in your industry, writers, musicians, singers, and that's why the Grammys always has that little special extra as an award for us. But to be Person of the Year, and they give it not just on your musical career, but on the things you do in your life, and that means a lot to me. And to share it with my family that's here, all under one roof, is a miracle. So I love it very much.
As she was awarded the honor in front of a who's who of the Latin music scene, husband Emilio was glowing with pride.
One of the things that I love about her, she never forgot her people. She never forgot the sound. She's been an incredible wife for 30 years. Her kids always come first. And in the long run, with time pass and number ones pass by, what you really want to get is something like this that you always will remember your heart.
And Gloria's own take on her enduring success.
What you see is what you get, baby,
Ricky Martin first rose to fame as part of the Puerto Rican boy band Menudo in the late 80s. He went solo in 1991 with his debut Spanish album, Ricky Martin. Alongside his singing career, he was also becoming known as an actor. thanks to a long-running role in a Mexican soap opera. His fourth album, Vuelve, went on to sell 8 million copies worldwide. The single Maria proved to be a huge crossover hit around the world and led to an invitation to sing the 1998 FIFA World Cup song, The Cup of Life. His energetic, hip-swiveling stage performances and chiseled looks were already turning him into a pin-up when Ricky's follow-up English-language album solidified his fame, selling 22 million copies worldwide and spawning the hits Living La Vida Loca and She's All I've Ever Had. The less than enthusiastic response to his next album, Sound Loaded, prompted a return to Spanish. He took another 5 years to emerge with his next English-language album, Life.
My album is called Live because when I was recording my music, I let life happen. Besides, I had the opportunity to go around the world and talk to different people, musicians, and just regular people that really inspired me. And you know, it was about feeling and tasting the beauty of the similarities of different cultures instead of the differences. And I believe it really was a gift from life.
Leading with the hip-hop influenced single I Don't Care featuring Fat Joe, the album showcased a mixture of styles, fusing hip-hop and the latest reggae rhythms from his home isle of Puerto Rico with dance and Middle Eastern beats, and with some straight-up pop thrown in. Ricky backed it up with a world tour that ended at Madison Square Garden in October 2007, just in time to unveil his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Ricky was overcome by the honor.
It's very simple. This is an incredible moment where, I don't know, if the star is here, I guess, you know, my work has been recognized and it'll never die, you know, it's part of the history. All I have to say is that everything I do with love, with passion.
For him, it was the culmination of nearly 20 years in the music business.
All I've done is work. Work. I've surrounded myself with amazing people, creatively, spiritually, and I think that combo creates magic, and I guess that's why I'm here today.
Since then, the pint-sized pop star has announced he'll be taking time off to spend with his twin sons, Matteo and Valentino, who were delivered via a surrogate mother in 2008. The story goes that a teenage Enrique Iglesias was so determined to make his own way in the music business without cashing in on his father's fame, he borrowed money to make a demo tape and shopped it around under the name of Enrique Martinez. After scoring a deal with an indie label, he released his first album under his own name at the age of 20. 5 singles from the self-titled album ended up topping the Latin charts in 1995, and he won a Grammy Award for Best Latin Pop Performance. 3 albums later, thanks to the crossover success of Ricky Martin, he was ready to release his first English album, Enrique, which featured duets with Whitney Houston and Bruce Springsteen. It debuted at number 10 on the Billboard charts, and his next album, Escape, did even better, debuting at number 1 on the Billboard charts and spawning the mega hits Hero and Escape. His romance with tennis superbabe Anna Kournikova also buoyed his popularity, and he followed up Escape with a 50-date sold-out tour of 16 countries. With the release of his 2003 album Seven and more raunchy videos, he solidified his image as a smouldering Latin lover. And Enrique made no apologies.
There's always a danger with exposing yourself too much, sex-wise, when it comes onto your music. But one goes with the other. I mean, music and sex go together, and people think about sex. It's normal. It's not like it's illogical. It's in our heads. It's in our minds, and I think it's okay to express it musically. You know, we shouldn't be afraid of doing that.
And he explained why so many of his songs revolved around love.
I focus my music on anything that's going on in my life. And a lot of times it talks, of course, about love, but I do think it's the only thing that really we all have in common, whether you're black or white, no matter what age you are, no matter what religion, what nationality, we can all relate to that.
Despite his obsession with love, however, 3 years later, at the age of 28, he was no nearer tying the knot with Anna. But he was still showing plenty of commitment to the career that has delivered 19 Spanish-language singles to the top of the Latin charts and shifted over 90 million albums worldwide.
What drives me is truly the love for what I do, the love for music, and I love my job. Yeah, it's not a point in my career where it's about money or it's about, obviously we all like to be successful and do well. But it truly is about how strongly I believe in what I do.
According to Forbes magazine, Jennifer Lopez is the richest person in Hollywood of Latin American descent, thanks to hugely successful careers in music and film, not only as a performer, but also as a producer. She was also one of the first celebrities to capitalize on their fame and fan base by launching clothing lines and perfumes. At the height of her popularity in the early 2000s, her publicist supposedly declared, "J-Lo isn't a person, she's a movement." Starting out as a backup dancer for 80s group New Kids on the Block, she worked her way up the acting ladder through parts in short-lived TV series in the early 90s. She was rewarded for nailing her part in the title role of the biopic Selena in 1997 with a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress, and instantly became the highest-paid Hispanic actress in history, commanding upwards of $1 million for her next film roles. The stage was set for her to conquer the music world, with the launch of her 1999 debut album On the 6th, and its #1 lead single, If You Had My Love.
Can you hear me? Oh my God, everybody over there too, across the street. Hi. I just wanted to stop and say hi before I went inside. Say thanks for all your support.
She was overwhelmed by the positive response that took the album into the Billboard Top 10 and rocketed her to mega stardom.
Music is such a universal language, you know what I mean? And I just feel like if you're honest with it and what you do as an artist, then, you know, people are going to respond to that. I just wanted them to enjoy the music, whatever happens. You know, big successes, #1s, whatever. You know, I just really want people to enjoy what I do and feel something, the same thing I do when I act.
After 2 short-lived marriages and 2 high-profile romances with Puff Daddy and Ben Affleck, she seems to have finally settled down with fellow Latino star Marc Anthony. Not that married life has slowed her down. As well as producing and starring in the film El Cantante with Marc, she embarked on her own foray into Spanish-language music with her 2007 album, which in English means How a Woman Loves.
You know, this was the right time for it. You know, I've always wanted to do a Spanish album. It was always a dream of mine. I wanted to record in Spanish. I love Spanish music. It's very passionate. I've been in love with it for a long time.
Within another 6 months, she'd released another English-language album, Brave, and set off on a double headlining tour with Marc, during which she announced she was pregnant. In March 2008, she and Marc welcomed twin boys, Emmy and Max.